Let's find this guy. On Friday, May 30th, when 32-year-old Travis Decker curiously did not bring his 3 young daughters back from a planned visitation, the girl's mother called police.
Girls were reported missing Friday night.
Travis was a homeless Army veteran who was living out of his white 2017 GMC Sierra in Washington state.
Those girls were visiting, spending time with their father as part of court-ordered visitation, though according to court records, their father had been homeless, was not supposed to have any overnight visits, and was also experiencing mental health issues.
Travis was pending disciplinary action because he failed to attend mandatory Army National Guard drills, where the last drill he attended was about a year ago. After an extensive search by law enforcement for several days, on Monday, June 2nd, police finally found Travis's unoccupied truck near the Rock Island campground,
where they found Decker's truck with 2 bloody handprints on the back.
After searching that area, they sadly found the bodies of Peyton 9, Evelyn 8, and Olivia 5.
The bodies of all 3 girls were found about 75 to 100 yards away down an embankment. Investigators noted zip ties and plastic bags were scattered throughout the area.
Asphyxiation sadly appears to be the cause of death. However, they didn't find Travis and still can't find Travis.
The search for Travis Decker, the 32-year-old father now charged in the killings of his 3 young daughters, federal, state, and local law enforcement are combing the woods east of Leavenworth.
From a forensic psychology criminal profile, Travis Decker appears to fit the psychological mold of a mission-oriented and emotionally disorganized offender, someone whose mental state unraveled under the weight of multiple destabilizing life events. As a now homeless former Army soldier facing a pending disciplinary charge for failing to attend National Guard drills for over a year, living out of his truck, and likely feeling powerless in a child custody dispute, Decker may have suffered a serious psychological break. This apparent military dishonorable discharge process possibly represented not just a professional consequence, but a symbolic severing of his last structured identity, further destabilizing his sense of control. His decision to apparently and sadly murder his 3 young daughters likely was his last source of emotional connection and perceived control or revenge. This suggests a lethal convergence of despair, distorted thinking, and an urgent need to assert dominance over what appeared to be a collapsing life.
Court documents reveal Decker was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder and was supposed to get mental health treatment and anger management according to a court-ordered plan, but hadn't.
Travis was apparently diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, BPD, which is marked by emotional instability, intense fear of abandonment, impulsive behavior, and identity disturbance. In the context of a perceived loss, such as his reduced custody of his children,
court documents obtained by King 5 from the Chelan County Superior Court show the Deckers had fought over the custody of their 3 children.
This disorder may contribute to driving an individual to tragic extremes. Untreated BPD, as it appears to be the case here, coupled with feelings of rejection, may have contributed to his lethal actions and now fuels his instability while on the run. His psychological profile includes potential for impulsive decision-making, suicidal ideation, and rage responses, making him highly unpredictable. Court records reflect a clear escalation in Deckard's behavior, with his ex-wife reporting multiple disturbing outbursts, including forced entry into her home.
Whitney did not want to cut off Travis completely, though, and did want her girls to have a relationship with their father. The documents noted several concerns. She voiced issues with the girls sleeping at the National Guard Armory unit, surrounded by unknown men. In one case, he allegedly hitchhiked to her home and asked to take the girls. Whitney wrote these incidents made her want to change the parenting plan, and that plan did not allow overnight visits. On Friday, he was only supposed to have the girls for 3 hours.
These episodes seem to have foreshadowed the unraveling of Deckard's control and may have signaled a looming break.
I actually spoke with one of his buddies who was actually, in fact, his neighbor while they were stationed in Italy back in 2016 to 2018, and he says that his mental health was already a wreck, that he'd only sleep just a few hours a night because PTSD would keep him up at night.
Additionally, as an Army soldier, Decker appeared to have been living with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, which is a condition that is common among veterans exposed to chronic stress, combat, or high-threat environments. PTSD can intensify emotional reactivity, hypervigilance, and distorted threat perception, especially when compounded by a personality disorder like BPD. If Travis Decker was experiencing both disorders simultaneously, the result could be a volatile mental state, marked by disorganized thinking, emotional collapse, and a heightened likelihood of violent behavior under perceived threat or loss. With what appears to be the absence of prior violence against his victims,
the girl's mother said Decker was homeless, but records show no one was concerned about violence, and that the kids had always looked forward to spending time with their dad.
Speaks volumes about the psychological dynamics that often underlie family annihilators. It suggests that the violence was not impulsive, but cognitively compartmentalized, planned internally, perhaps over time, but concealed from the outside world. Individuals like Travis may appear to the outside world as calm and composed, while quietly unraveling beneath the surface, especially when trained to suppress emotion, as often the case in military culture. For someone with borderline combined with PTSD, a major emotional collapse can occur suddenly and decisively, especially when triggered by abandonment or identity loss, both of which seem to be occurring in his life simultaneously. Physically, Travis Decker is 5 foot 8 inches, which is about average height for a male here in the United States. 190 pounds, he has black hair and many describe him as tying it in a ponytail. He also has brown eyes. He was last seen wearing a light-colored shirt and dark shorts, though that's likely to have changed. His military background includes advanced infantry and survival training, which makes him highly skilled at living off of the land and avoiding detection. Also, because he's military, he has access and has been trained on various types of weaponry. His use of zip ties, pre-crime scouting off the road, and the remote location all point to clear premeditation. Cell phone data and flock surveillance using his truck's license plate confirmed he traveled to and from the area near Rock Island Campground prior to the murders, suggesting he had already selected the site before picking up the girls.
Investigators say that Travis scouted out the location where the girls were found the day before he actually picked them up.
Curiously, police found a bloody handprint on his vehicle. Police are still trying to figure out what that exactly means, but it could mean that he tried to do something to himself, but then decided to go on the run instead. As you likely know, it's very common for fugitives to retreat to areas they know well. However, Travis's military training may allow him to feel much more comfortable moving tactically through unfamiliar, rugged terrain. Therefore, he may be intentionally avoiding predictable locations and instead using backcountry trails, abandoned cabins, or unmonitored campsites across rural Washington state. His survival skills, he likely ascertained from the military, make him far more comfortable than the average person in harsh and isolated conditions, allowing him to exploit terrain with natural concealment, limited surveillance, and multiple escape routes. It's also very possible that Travis Decker is no longer alive.
We are unsure if Mr. Decker is currently alive, but we are taking it that he is still out there. And again, we will not rest until we've located him, whether he's alive or he's dead. We want to make sure that he's brought back.
Family annihilators, particularly those with borderline traits or psychological collapse, often die by suicide shortly after the act, frequently near the crime scene as a form of emotional closure or symbolic surrender. However, since Travis does not appear to be nearby because otherwise they would have found him, this suggests he may have shifted from emotional collapse to what is called a goal-directed survival mode, choosing flight at least temporarily over self-destruction. This behavioral pivot implies that his military training and trauma response systems may have overridden any initial suicidal ideation, making him harder to locate and potentially more dangerous as time goes on. This is because he starts to become more and more vested in his chosen path of evasion. Travis Decker should be considered armed, trained, and extremely dangerous. He possesses not only the skills to evade capture, but also a psychological profile marked by emotional volatility, survival instincts, and mission-driven thinking. His unraveling mental state, combined with his highly emotional thinking because of his BPD, may eventually lead to mistakes. But until he's captured, he remains a serious threat to law enforcement, the public, people he may know, and possibly to himself, which together is a profoundly dangerous combination. There is now a $20,000 reward for information leading to Travis Decker's arrest. If you believe you spotted him, call police immediately. So don't approach him, just call it in and get your reward. Give this video a thumbs up so this video can go to more people and more people can be on the lookout for Travis Decker so our communities can be safer and he can be brought to justice. Now in the comments, where do you think Travis Decker is specifically hiding? Let everyone know in the comments below. We'll probably be discussing more of this case So subscribe for more. It's possible he snuck onto a train or a tractor trailer and now left the state, so it's actually very important that everyone is on the lookout for him. You know, I would say even into Canada too, because Washington State is quite close to Canada, and he may have made his way across the border, because a lot of that Washington State-Canada border is not monitored by Border Patrol, so he can make his way into Canada even. So it's very important that everyone is on the lookout for this guy, make sure that he is brought to justice, and also that he doesn't harm anyone else in the process here. See you next time.